Welcome back. You're watching Startup Central with me, Nayanthara Rai. This is the only show of its kind on Indian television dedicated to startups, innovation, technology, disruption, entrepreneurship. Now, the last week of December, what we saw was on the same day, two startups becoming a unicorn. One of those unicorns has now gone in 2 months for yet another fundraise. $100 million raised in December from the likes of Microsoft, Google, etc. And today, a fundraise announcement of another $100 million. And once again, marquee investors, including coming in from Qatar. I'm talking about the parent company of Josh and Daily Hunt, VerSe Innovation. Joining me, the two co-founders, Umang Bedi and Virendra, who's famously called Viru. Thanks, guys. Congratulations for the big fundraise. Umang, let me come to you. I'm calling it a tale of 2 months. In December, you raised $100 million. In February, you've raised another $100 million. What's going on?
I think, I'd like to start off by saying that, we're just the representatives of the company. I think we're backed by over 500 amazing people. But I think to your point, I think it is serendipitous for us on 3 different levels. The $100 million additional investment coming in from the likes of Qatar Investment Authority and Gladebrook Capital Partners really is a testimony to 3 things. One, that the fortune is really at the bottom of the pyramid. It's a core testimony to the local language market and to the spirit of Bharat and to the opportunity of Bharat. So I think it's a huge validation to that point. The second that we always feel is that valuations and investments are an outcome of a business. And we feel incredibly proud of what the team has created, both at Daily Hunt and at Josh, with a really solid business, with a really solid revenue and user growth model that is on steroids. And I think the third, it's a great validation to the teams that are building all of this and are, with us every moment, every second of the day, trying to solve the hardest opportunities for the customers in Bharat. So I think, that's really a quick summary on the way I think about it. And, the fact that we turned unicorn 2 months ago, the fact that this has come on the back of 2 of the world's largest financial investors coming in addition to AlphaWave, Google, and Microsoft, is just very, very reaffirming to those 3 testaments. 1, on the market opportunity, 2, on the core business, and 3, really on the outstanding performance of the teams. But thanks so much for asking that, Nayanthara.
So I want to take forward this validation point that you're talking about. The validation is coming in for building for Bharat. So let me take that across to Viru. Viru, the point also is that when you build for Bharat, the critics say that how are you going to monetize that, right? As you go down the pyramid that Umang, your co-founder, is talking about, the purchasing power, the spending power is lower. So how is all of this going to be monetized? Because the fact is there are many, many startups like yourselves that are going down the pyramid, building, and the concern now is how are you going to make the returns?
So, Nayanthara, thank you. And I think that question has many layers of questions in it. I think the first thing which it validates is that India is a large market. India is a large consumer internet market, and that's why people are looking for companies and assets which are going long tail in India and building businesses. So that's first thing, and one should not forget that. The second thing is this is a long game. This is not a short game, and it is an expensive game, mind you. Okay, while people have taken opportunistically, they have started building products, but and I'm mincing no words, this is an expensive game, which means you need to mine and build business over years to build a large user base and monetizing. Second thing is anybody who doesn't have a faith in Indian economy should not come and invest in the country, because India today is at a $2 to $3 trillion GDP, overall GDP, and we are expected to go to 5 to 8 trillion, market cap in few years. Now, companies which are laying foundation to mine the Bharat and have proven monetization, as we have proven with, Daily Hunt, and have shown huge amount of growth, in other, periphery apps like family of apps like Josh and so on and so forth. I think investors are looking for those kind of quality companies which know how to build scalable business, how to manage scalable business, and how to monetize it. Of course, monetization in India is not easy. It's not going to come like tomorrow. But if you are building moats around business, if you have capability to scale businesses and have sales team and mind advertising space, people are looking at India for generating returns over a long period of time.
I take all of that point, and talking about the marquee investors you've got on board, something the two of you are talking about, how expensive all of this is, how you're building unique artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all of that. And Umang, the question is, are you only building for India or for the world? You've got the likes of Google and Microsoft backing you.
One thing that we've always focused on is having a very high quality of capital in terms of investors, one who believe in the India story, right? Two, who believe in the Bharat story. And three, that give us not just capital, but foundational know-how in terms of connections, introductions to entrepreneurs across the world, to tech platform companies, because our ambitions are global. I think what we are focused on this year is really around growing Daily Hunt and Josh, launching a family of apps, and also exploring, like we spoke about last time around, how we could export some of these products to markets that have local language characteristics. Because I think what we've proven, just to touch upon what Viru said, we've proven the use case that we can grow a large user base and serve a large user base and retain a large user base effectively. We've proven that they have the ability to spend a quantum of time, right? Today in Daily Hunt, it's northwards of 30 minutes. On Josh, it's northwards of 22 minutes per person per day. And what we've also proven is the monetization use case, wherein on the Daily Hunt audience itself, last March, we exited at about $120 million of ARR, growing more than 50% this year by the time we exit the financial year. So with having proven those fundamentals, I think we're looking to expand both within Bharat, going deeper and deeper, and into international markets. And we look at high quality capital that has the ability to back us for the long term, which is why you see a very diversified cap table with very high quality investors from the US to India, to parts of the Middle East, to Europe, to Southeast Asia. So again, I'll just reiterate that point that we look for high quality capital that believes in the opportunity, that can sustain this for the long run, because we think of this as a really long run business, right? We're just getting started.
So then, as you have global ambitions, Virendra, do you want to tell us which are the countries you're looking at? Umang giving us a hint, of course, about regional languages. So I'm guessing these are not going to be primarily English-speaking countries.
So Nayantara, the tech is the core, it's the core fulcrum of our business. And that's a very, very important aspect. Now, what VerSe Innovation has done very nicely, it has perfected the art of machine learning and AI for local languages in 14 local languages over multiple years. Now, that's a big weapon we already have, where our models have been trained over a huge amount of data set and huge amount of languages over a period of 4 to 5 years. Now, that tech we have leveraged to launch and apply to Josh. Now, when we look at Josh, few things which we are focusing on and not going into too much details is a lot of tech effort goes into scaling up the infrastructure and video serving. Now, that's a key part. And by the way, that's a huge cash guzzler as well. And when we talk about that short videos, businesses are not cheap businesses, that's what it means. It requires a lot of infrastructure, serving capabilities, tech know-how to kind of personalize content, get best AI ML people, make your camera very, very smooth so that even a person from tier 2, tier 3 can use your camera very easily. So a lot of tech goes into making sure that your mobile becomes a content studio where, you don't have to go to a studio like we are in right now. You just got to take your mobile phone and create a magic out of it. and your backend system is able to personalize what your interests are and give content to the user. There's a lot of investment which goes into the AI/ML, into the camera side, into the serving side, and into the content moderation, content understanding, and so on and so forth.
I'm not going to get into content moderation. It's just far too controversial, and I don't think we have enough time to be talking about content moderation, especially in light with what we're seeing happening these days with Twitter. But Umang, I want to understand, how much have you grown since the last time we spoke? That is, of course, when you became a unicorn in the month of December. Obviously, Josh has leveraged the TikTok void, but I'm trying to also understand how much Josh has grown, because we've seen mushrooming of several apps, this short video format apps.
So I think what's important is to understand the size of the opportunity, how big TikTok was, where we are relative in that scale, and how fast do we think we can actually capitalize on this opportunity. So when you think about India, Nayantara, which is the 1.3 billion people, we're currently at about 648 million people who've had access to the internet even once, of which 500 million are active internet users today. In the next 4 years, that number is going to double. And thanks to Jio and Airtel, that number could accelerate even faster. But essentially, India is poised to have 1.2 billion people who have connected to the internet, and in the next 4 years, 1 billion active users. Now, when you think about short video as a category, it really falls under entertainment. India is a country that only has 180 million TVs in a country of 1.3 billion people. So mobile has kind of become the device of entertainment. When we look at the mobile entertainment or entertainment on mobile as a category, today there are 450 million people that are actually consuming either long-form content, which is more like a lean-back experience via an OTT, or short-form content, which is a short video on this app. So today, the size of the market is about 450 million people. In the next 4 years, that market's going to double to about 900 million people. When TikTok was banned, what we have understood is that they had about 200 million monthly active users and over 100 million people coming back every day. Where we are in our journey across the last 6 months, post-July when we launched, December exit, we exited at over 85 million monthly active users and 40 million daily active users. And so I think we've captured only a fraction of that opportunity. The big part is what Viru talked about, wherein this is a very expensive business. I was reading an interesting book written by Mark Brennan, where the founder of ByteDance actually says, if I had to do a startup all over again, I may not get into short video, just given how expensive it is in terms of the AI and the tech that goes into understanding the content, the camera tech that goes into creating content, the back-end entire data center that goes into serving the short-form content very efficiently across networks, across devices. This is a highly expensive business, which you then need to monetize, right? And so when you think about it, very large TAM or very large target audience market, right? Very, very big market, which is doubling in the next 2 years. 400 million users today, getting to about 900 million users. And I think we've just about scratched the surface. The true victory in our mind is going to be crossing the 50 million DAU mark and sustaining that growth to get to 100 million DAUs. But that means going even deeper into Bharat, doing a whole lot more, investing into tech, the AI/ML tech stack, and everything that Viru just described. But it's a very, very large opportunity.
Okay, so, it's very, very expensive. We don't know how it's going to progress. So the question then is that, is there room for so many and so many that are going after, the same millions of users? So if I can give that question to you, Viru, is consolidation bound to happen? We have started seeing, for example, M&As in EdTech.
So again, a very, very good question. And, I think it's early days. And right now, it is an overjealous, and there's a lot of positivity around the space of a lot of entrepreneurs trying to create something which is very good, right? Because people feel there is a gap which is being left by some apps which have gone banned, and Umang described the opportunity. And so a lot of people are building a lot of products and a lot of features around it. But again, I think one thing which, and look, we have seen this in ad tech, we have seen this in telecom, we have seen this in commerce. This is not the first time we are seeing this. I think soon there'll be realization that this is a very expensive business, number one. Number two, there is no one single secret sauce. You got to do many things. You got to solve for infrastructure. You got to invest for AI talent. You got to create a huge network of content creators across nook and corner of the country, which requires costs and investments. And then you got to acquire users. Now, if entrepreneurs are going to be busy raising money every 6 months, then who will do this job? So, eventually, I think, the best product and feature will win. But mind you, you require a lot of capital to implement the full playbook, because you also have Instagram Reels and other people, chasing the same kind of users in some sense. And I'm not talking only about Indian companies, but, companies from US like Instagram and Snapchat trying to attack the same user base. So our feeling is, I think this industry will go through some turbulence. There will be some big players who are trying to raise money. They will raise money, and there'll be, I think the market can absorb, a couple of people there. I don't know how it will play out. But there'll be a lot of other startups which are solving unique problems around something. And they will become a good ecosystem for larger companies to kind of work together and win the space in much more efficient space, right? And by the way, we all know, we have seen in all industries that the space in any industry for many companies is very limited. And the market is small. I mean, in telecom, we had 13 players, which is reduced to now 3 players eventually, right? And so the playbook is going to behave like this going forward, in my opinion.
I can make out that the next announcement is not far away. It's not expensive. You're building unique technology. You want to go around the world. Umang, when is the next fundraise? 2 months again?
See, Nayantara, the way we think about it is funding. We as an industry, Viru and I are very shy about talking about fundraisers and funding, fundamentally because I know we rejoice on it as an industry, and for good reason. But I think funding is an outcome of the business, right? If you see businesses that are on a very high growth trajectory, which are doubling every 6 months or every year, investors like to back high growth and profitable growth businesses, not businesses that are just burning cash without making any revenue, for instance. So it's important that we focus on the business. And what's in our hands is really to double down on the opportunity, expand Josh aggressively, solve for the creators like we talked about last time, because they are the heart of our ecosystem, both at Daily Hunt and at Josh, and then look at newer markets. And if we do that well, and with sincerity, and grow on business as exponentially as we have done till date, I'm pretty certain that we would attract high quality capital. If not, people on the cap table wanting to do more with us already. So I think that's an outcome of the business. So I wouldn't comment on the next fundraise. All I could comment on, we're doubling down and we'll do our level best to serve Bharat with the utmost level of sincerity and hard work to try and capitalize on the opportunity and entertain people and inform them and engage them with content in their language of choice.
Right. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining us here. Congratulations once again. $100 million fundraise in December, another $100 million in February. Ambitions to go global. And you know what? Since we can make out the next fundraise is perhaps not very far away, whenever it is. I know you both will be back on Startup Central, and then we're going to give you both 14 seconds to do a short video pitch to our viewers on what the news is and why we have you on the show. I think that would be good fun. But for now, we'll take a short commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. On the other side, an angel investor will be on the show, and we'll talk about an investor after this break. But it has something to do with the 200 crore rupee